Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this meeting is called to order at 6 p.m. Welcome to the Town of Cedar Lake Board of Zoning Appeals public meeting for November 2022. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson.
Here.
Mr. Wilkening.
Here.
Mr. Kapora.
Present.
Mr. Bungie.
Here.
Mr. Rakubido.
Here.
Mr. Austin.
Present.
Mr. Flatus.
Present.
Ms. Abernathy present.
All right, thank you. Regarding the meeting minutes from October 13th, 2022, any discussion on the minutes? If not, do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Okay. Motion by Mr. Kapora, seconded by Mr. Wilkening. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening.
Yes.
Mr. Kapora.
Yes.
Mr. Bungie.
Yes.
Mr. Rakubido.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Before we get into our business, I would like to preface this meeting with some clarification from Attorney Austin. If you could, please, for the benefit of our petitioners and those in attendance and those watching, the ramifications and path forward if a denial is given to a petitioner's request from the BZA.
Well, there are two different types of proceedings that would be here tonight. One is developmental variance, and the second is a variance of use. Variance of use is a recommendation from this body to the town council. The town council would consider the recommendation and all records made, and when they made that, or when they receive it and review it, they'll make a decision. The same result occurs with a developmental variance. That's a size, height, yard type of variance. And what would happen at the end of that proceeding is a decision will be made by this body. That decision will be favorable or approve or not approve. Any relief you all seek from a decision of the Board of Zoning Appeals or the Town Council requires a court filing. It's called a petition for judicial review. It's found in the Indiana Code at IC 3674, 900 series, 1000 series, and 1600 series. It's a court proceeding, and it has all of the indices of court proceedings. So the end result of a denial or the town, by the Board of Zoning Appeals or the Town Council is legal proceedings.
Okay.
Is that what you were?
Yeah, and we made mention in the past that we couldn't come back and request a variance again of similar kind unless there was a major change in the request.
Our ordinance requires that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Austin. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll go on to old business. Item number 1 is Frey, developmental variance. Owner petitioner Donald Frey, 332 East 125th Place, Crown Point, Indiana. The property in the vicinity of 109 Broadway in Cedar Lake. This developmental variance is to allow the petitioner to have a lot size of 6,250 square feet, a front yard setback of 18.3 feet, and a side yard setback of 2 feet on an existing lot with an existing structure. And this was deferred from the October meeting.
Legals were in order then, and this is a deferred hearing.
Okay, thank you, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
Don Frey, 332 East 125th Place, Crown Point. And yes, I'm here to petition for a developmental variance for this property.
Okay. Can you give us a reason for your request, Don?
Well, I bought the building earlier this year. It's the old dentist office that's been there since 1952. It was explained to me after I purchased it that the property has 2 addresses now, and it's not plotted correctly or something like that. I'm not sure the exact jargon. So I was requested by the town to come in and apply for this variance so that I could make a single building subdivision out of it so it could be plotted correctly with the county.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Ms. Abernathy, do you have anything to add?
That's what Mr. Frey said when he came for the variance of use. We requested that he go through the subdivision process. The building's existing, the lot's existing, but with it going from a meets and bound to a legal lot of record, we then require everything either be brought into compliance or they come and request variances from the board. At this point, he's coming and requesting a variance for the board. The lot size is only 6,250 square feet. The building is only 18.3 feet back from the front and 2 feet from the side.
So there's no way of making this compliant? Really? Okay. Gotcha.
Existing non-conforming.
Yep, okay. All right, thank you, Ashley. Any questions for the petitioner? Any discussion?
No, sir.
No?
Is the one lot subdivision, is that all done?
It's going through the planning commission right now.
Okay,
It's running concurrently.
nothing else.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right. Mr. Frey, if you can have a quick seat, please, I'm gonna go to remonstrance. Is there anybody out here for or against this variance? Anyone here for or against this variance? Ms. Abernathy, do you have anything?
There's a listener online, but I think it might be Mr. Carnahan.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, the public portion's now closed. Mr. Frey, you can please come back up. Yeah, I don't see an issue with this. You've gone this far.
You're not planning on adding on to onto the building anytime,
No.
so this will pretty much stay the same
Yeah,
footprint for
yeah,
as long as you care to stay
I don't
there?
have any plans of making any changes to it.
I think the setback off of Broadway, works. I think it's fine. Seems like it's the same as, or within inches of, the old bank building, La Jarita?
Oh,
The new town, or the new dorm.
Jimador, yeah.
Jimador, so,
Okay.
The newest Mexican restaurant.
the newest Mexican restaurant.
For now.
For now.
Mr. Austin, so this is something that's normally gonna be triggered from here on out with the one lot subdivision of an existing property that's not in compliance?
Probably.
Okay.
It is Cedar Lake.
Yeah.
Every piece of land's unique. For purposes of Mr. Frey's petition, he's modernizing the land use approval, the land use controls, if you will. My recommendation is if there's a favorable action, that it be subject to the one lot subdivision plat approval being completed.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Do we act on this, or do we send her?
This is a developmental variance, John, so this will be a board decision.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we, approve the developmental variance is to allow the petitioner to have a lot size of 6,250 square feet, front yard setback of 18.3 feet, and a side yard setback of 2 feet on an existing lot with an existing structure per finding of facts.
Okay, and also subject to the one lot subdivision plat being approved?
Yes, also
Okay.
subject to the one lot subdivision approval.
I'll second that with the findings of fact.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Pecora, seconded by Mr. Wilkening. Mr. Frey, do you understand the motion?
I do.
Okay. Any questions on the motion?
Yes, sir.
No? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kapura?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
Yes.
Mr. Thibodeau?
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Dennis.
Thanks, Dave.
Moving on to new business, item number 1, White, 8017 West 146th Avenue Developmental Variance. Owner petitioner Glenn and Heather White of 8017 West 146th Avenue in Cedar Lake, Indiana, the property being in the vicinity of the same. This developmental variance is to allow the petitioner to construct a 14-foot by 20-foot garage with 5 feet of separation between the garage and the house. Mr. Austin, are legals in order?
Mr. Chairman, the legals are in order. Public hearing may be conducted.
All right, thank you, sir. Do we have a petitioner here for this item? All right, folks, please come on up and state your name and address for the record.
Glenn White,
Heather White.
8017 West 146th Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana.
Okay, thank you. And the reason for your request?
The current garage is in disrepair. It needs to be replaced, and we have, being that we just got married, I brought another car, a motorcycle, and due to my wife's parents' health and condition of themselves, they have graciously gifted us with a fishing boat. And the current garage is only a single-car garage.
Okay, well, congratulations on your marriage.
Appreciate that.
And what's the current size of the garage you have now?
Small.
Yeah.
The current size is...
I don't,
So demolish 14 by 20?
that sounds right.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, well, okay. I appreciate it. Ms. Abernathy, do you have anything for us?
They're putting the garage where the existing setback is, 5 feet from the rear of the house. It's one of those lots where there's not a lot of space in the rear. If you look on page 6 of your iPad, it'll show that they're trying to keep the garage, the new garage, in the existing structure area of the existing garage, and there's only 5 feet of separation from that house. They're meeting the rest of the setback, 6 feet from the rear, 10 feet from the, or 6 feet from the side, 10 feet from the rear. They just need the 5-foot separation from the house.
Okay.
I showed this to all the building inspectors. There was nothing that they saw with anything on this that would trigger any issues.
Okay. All right, thank you. Board discussion?
Is this going right where the current one is, nothing's changing?
It's going exactly where the current one is, as far as to the west would be the same, but to the east would be 5 foot further in, and then it's a little bit deeper, but not with outside the ordinances as far as the back yard.
Okay.
So what was the roundabout separation between the home and the current garage now?
The current garage was built when my wife bought the house
It was built in 1998. When I bought the house, the garage was there, the house was new. And I had built an addition on the house in 2017, which has brought the house closer to the existing garage. And now we need to
The
build
current,
a new garage.
the current garage is not from the house to the garage, currently 10 feet.
Okay, so it's less than 10?
I believe, if I had to make a guess, I believe it'd be 8.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And it's gonna be closer to the house now because of the size of the garage you're building.
Because of the width. They're gonna keep it the same width east, or west, I'm sorry, but it needs to be widened
Yeah.
west to accommodate for 2 cars.
So that takes a couple feet away from the distance between the house and the
Correct.
garage.
Ms. Abernathy?
I'm sorry, I have a question, because with what was submitted for the addition, it's 14 by 20 on your permit. And that's the advertisements that ran for you were for a 14 by 20 garage.
That's what we want.
The garage that we want to build is 14 by 20. The current garage, if I had to make a guess, is 9 by 15. It's literally a single car garage. So if you, by example, she has an Explorer. If I put that Explorer in the garage, me being the size I am, I'm edging to get out of that garage. That's the size of the garage that's there now.
Okay, just the application says something about a 20 by 26 frame garage.
That's where my question's coming in, because your application says 14 by 20, and then on the site plan, they put 20 by 26.
Yeah,
We
20.
went with the 14 by 20 on your advertisement. Because that was what was on your permit.
Right, so it would be I'm only going by what the garage guys gave us.
20 by 26 is what they wanna build. And the only problem with
That
that.
would put the width 5 foot from the house.
Okay. Mr. Austin, do we have any problem with advertisement on this one?
Well, it sounds like they don't match up,
They do not match up.
so that probably is a problem, given the nature of the request and the area, yard and area, limitations we're talking about.
Okay.
It would not be improper to consider, requesting that this be amended and re-advertised and come back next month. There's a difference in the request they made versus what we understood.
Okay.
Can I ask, what was understood as the width?
14 by 20. And that's what was advertised for,
That's what's on the permit.
because that was what was on the building permit turned in with your guys' BCA application. Due to the issue with the re-advertisement, if Chris is okay with it, I will do the re-advertisements on my part.
That's why I asked before when it said demolition, 14 by 20. But the garage you have is not demolition 14 by 20. It's smaller than that.
Yeah, by a foot or so, it says,
No,
it
it's
gets 15 by 18, so.
What they,
We wanna demo 14 by 20 and build 20 by 20.
the 14 by 20 is a current garage, which the current garage was built before, I believe, the ordinance was put in as far as 10 foot from the house. That was a current garage. Because it was built over, when would you say the house was built?
96.
In 96. So you're looking at almost 20 some odd years ago. The width they want to go is 20 by 26. So the depth is still under the ordinance. It's the moving of the east side closer to the house, which the current garage is the existing garage is closer than the ordinance.
Okay. Now, I had to defer to legal on this. What's your recommendation, Mr. Austin, on this? Being that,
We have two different descriptions going on here, and it would be my recommendation that we have the public hearing on the real request, whatever it is, please.
okay. Mr. Wilkeny?
I'd like to make a motion that this gets amended with Miss Abernathy's help.
Okay.
I do know they say their current garage is unsafe.
It's,
They're anxious to get that torn down. With this being re-advertised, is it okay for them to go with the demolition? With you guys seeing them next month, or would you prefer it remain intact until?
Are you using the existing foundation as part of the new garage?
They're gonna lay down new concrete, and they're tearing the whole garage down because it's not safe. It's dilapidated, my ex-husband didn't keep up with it, and bad things could potentially happen, and that's why we're trying to get this done, and the only thing we wanna do is build it 5 feet closer to the house.
the concrete is cracked in the middle of the garage. The concrete needs to be replaced.
I've
So-
been advising them not to tear it down because
Well, I know what you're getting at, and you're exactly right. Is any of the old concrete being used for the new garage?
I do not believe so. As far as I know, they're going to lay whatever we get approved for, they're going to lay a new pad. That's my understanding, because the garage floor has got a monster crack through the middle of it.
And it won't be big enough.
Well, even if we built the exact same size garage, it has to have new concrete because the middle it's got a monster crack in it. So even if we got approved for the same size garage, it still would need new concrete.
Okay.
I don't have any problem with them demolishing it. It's not gonna change my opinion one way or the other, my determination. But I did wanna clarify for you folks, we need to have this advertised correctly for the adjacent property owners to know exactly what you're doing. That's the problem we're having right now, and that's why Mr. Wilkening is making a motion to defer this item until next month, so that way it can be advertised correctly for your neighbors.
So can I ask a question?
Sure.
So the advertisement says that we are demolishing a 20 by 14.
No, that
And-
you're
No, the
constructing a
the
14.
demolition is not part of what's before the board.
So we're only building a
That's a
20 by
consequence
14?
of the use of your property.
I'm sorry, what? I didn't-
Demolition doesn't belong to the town board of zoning appeals.
So the rebuilding of the garage, they have the dimension wrong. They said you want to rebuild a 20 by 14.
No, it's 20 by 26.
That's what we want, but the advertisement said 20 by 14.
And that is not right.
Correct. Okay. So we advertised it wrong.
Do we have a second on the motion?
Can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
You said the house was added on to in 17, roughly 5 years ago?
14 years ago, 07.
07.
My
Okay.
son, when my son was
Okay. Building permit was
born. Everything was all good.
was all good,
Mm,
but you still had an existing garage
Yes, sir.
that you were given a permit to build at that time
Yes, sir.
within the 10 feet?
Yes, sir.
The garage is the original garage
No,
from the house.
I get
was built.
it, but I'm just thinking that with the addition, you guys kind of put yourself in the 8 ball of where on that property now you really have enough footprint to put a garage, construct a garage of any size? You see what I'm seeing here?
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
We were approved for everything. I had all the building permits and everything. I wasn't denied anything.
Okay, well, I don't know what happened 17 years ago, but if your addition to your house caused you, if you're now dealing with a non-conforming situation with an existing garage that I think just by your examples here is already non-compliant with it being within about 10 feet, within 10 feet of the structure?
If it's non-compliant, that wouldn't, I mean, I don't understand how that would be my fault if all the permits were granted and we followed.
Well, were you given a variance for the,
I had to have been if they were able to build. I mean, I didn't do anything they didn't say I couldn't do.
I'll pull files.
Yeah, I was
mean,
gonna
yeah,
suggest that for next month.
I did everything I was supposed to do.
Okay,
I
well-
didn't do anything they didn't say I could do.
okay.
So let me ask you, Jeff, what you're getting at here is that they created their own hardship?
Well,
Is what they're stating?
it's kind of sounding that way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
can I ask how?
You're creating, by the addition going on, you created a difficult situation for yourself today to come before us to ask for a variance for something that you created the problem for.
But we created it under the permits of Cedar Lake. Everything that I was supposed to do, I did. I didn't,
And we're not arguing that.
okay.
We're not arguing that. What we're saying right now is because you did that, because you put the addition on,
Okay,
okay? Now it's creating a difficulty for you to build this garage because you put that addition on.
how would
Let
I?
me explain it to her.
Okay.
Basically, by making an addition, you did not consider that someday down the line, eventually, you need a bigger garage.
How would I have known that?
Well,
Mr. Chairman?
yes,
Oh,
sir.
I'm sorry, Gary, go ahead.
This is a discussion we've had in the past, not too long ago, with someone from Lindsway. We wanted 2 sheds, and the discussion came up, well, if someday we're gonna do a pool, well, he had to backtrack because if he got another shed, he was gonna need a variance for the pool, and he already needed a variance for the shed, so it was, I hate to say shoot yourself in the foot, but
Understood, but if they didn't bring that to my attention,
Well,
That's not their job.
yeah, Ms. Abernathy's gonna pull a file on the property, and we'll get clarification on this stuff next
Yeah.
month, and we could really vet it then.
And how close is the existing garage to any part of the home now?
it's not less than 8 feet.
I would say,
I don't think
I'm
it's-
6 foot, if I laid down, it'd be probably 8 foot from now.
Okay, we need a measurement.
Okay, we I honestly did not measure that before
I personally need numbers.
Okay,
So,
there's,
we wanna make sure that what we're discussing here is exactly right.
here, if you wanna look at this, this is the plan from the building, from Garage Guys. And they drew at the bottom their measurements.
Mr. Oster, do you think it's proper to be conducting these discussions without the proper advertising?
I don't, I also know you have a motion, I didn't get a second.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just was asking for...
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
Kind of the lay of the land is a little jumbled right now. And
I just-
if I could,
Please.
all of this really can be the subject of an amendment to the petition that is before you and can be put in front of you legally for consideration by that application amendment. So it is a little messy or kind of unclear, but if they ask for the relief that gives them what we're talking about, then they're properly before you and you can properly consider whether that's the relief you get or not.
Okay.
I would not suggest that you take anything out of the ground or destroy it pending getting this all straight. You can do what you want, folks, of course, but it would seem that if you're going to demolish something before you have adjudication, that might not be the wisest course.
Okay. So we wanna defer this, we're gonna act on it here shortly, hopefully, but we wanna defer this to make sure it gets advertised correctly. We want a measurement in between the house and the current garage, and Ashley's gonna pull a file on the past work that was done.
And I will handle the re-advertising.
Okay, all right, so back to our motion, we had a motion by Mr. Wilkening to defer this item to December, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Kevin.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Jackson. Folks have any other questions for us?
No. Well, if we have any questions, we'll contact Ashley, she's been awesome.
Okay, all right, she is. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a roll call, please.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes,
Mr.
thanks.
Sikora?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
Yes.
Mr. Zupato?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you, folks, we'll see you next
Thanks.
month.
Thank you.
Item number 2 of new business is Kohler, 14742A Drummond Avenue, developmental variance. The owner petitioner, Tracy Kohler, of the same property being in the vicinity of the same as well. This developmental variance is to allow the petitioner to be able to construct a 15-foot by 17-foot addition onto the rear of their house that will be 20 feet from the rear yard property line. Mr. Austin, are the legals in order?
The legals are in order, and I would want to note for the record, and should be on the last petition also, that petitioners have submitted not only their application, but the proposed findings. I hope you all have those, so that you can use them in your considerations.
We have.
Yes, sir.
They're in file. Everything's good.
All right, thank you. Do we have a petitioner here for this item? Please come on up, folks. Name and address for the record, please.
I'm Tracy Kohler, 14742A Drummond Avenue.
Okay. And the reason, oh, sir, go ahead.
Rick Locasto, RC Development Contractor.
Okay. And the reason for your request?
We moved last year because my husband has knee problems, and we had 17 steps going up and down, so now we're on a slab home. And my daughter was initially going away to college, well, my stepdaughter, and he was working at his place of employment. His work has changed now where he has to work from home, and she decided to not go away from school, and we have a 2-bedroom home. So we're looking to build the addition so that we have room for an office and have some extra space.
Okay. Ms. Abernathy?
So the concrete pad that's existing is currently 15 by 15. Their intent is to go over that slab out 2 feet to the south and just have a rear yard setback of 20 feet. They will then meet all side yard setbacks.
So is the slab at the 20-foot, at 20-foot line roughly?
The slab is over the building line.
It's over the building line?
Mhm.
Okay. Are there plans for an additional slab beyond the addition?
10 by 10, just where the sliding door will be to the south side.
Okay.
We're gonna put it about 5 feet off the easement, right, the addition?
That's why he's here, I don't know those answers.
Repeat that, please?
That'll put it about 5 feet
Right,
off the
yes.
easement, because the easement back there is 15 foot.
Yes.
Okay, so they couldn't go to the slab, because they'd be in the
Okay.
easement if they went that way.
Okay.
So he couldn't put a slab at all?
Not going to the west.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we're going to the south.
Yeah, if you went to the west, you don't have enough room
Okay.
because of the
Right.
easement.
Yeah, no.
9 has a concept rendering of how the additional look off the house with where they're gonna put the patio.
Okay. Are there any other residences in the subdivision that have any similar additions? We know of?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so either.
This is R2 zoning, I believe?
RT.
Oh, it's RT?
Lindsay's got a mix of R2 and RT based on just how it was developed. So you got a mix of RT,
Oh, okay, this is...
you got some townhomes, you've got single family, you got it all in there.
Okay.
Just looking quickly. There's some homes that go back that far, but I'm not seeing any on any duplexes.
All right, thank you, Ashley.
What does that do to the coverage
They were under, I think it was 23.1.
with the addition?
Yeah, I have it in the town file.
You guys don't have any homeowners association out that way?
I don't really have to ask them,
We are
because it
not.
depends, it
No?
all depends on the builder.
Oh, okay.
The
You're not
other
home-
half of Lindsay has an HOA, we don't on our side.
Okay, all right, thank you. And this will be built right on the existing pad?
No, we would demolish that pad.
Demolish it, okay.
Now, you gotta put a footing in it,
Put a
right?
foundation in
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for the petitioner?
No, I'm
No,
good, I just,
this is living space.
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
There's no backyard now, it's gonna be less.
Yeah. Folks, can you have a seat for me, please? I'm gonna call on any remonstrance for or against this variance. You don't have to go far. No. Anyone here for or against this variance? Ms. Abernathy, do you have anything submitted online, or anyone in chat? No? Okay. Public portion's now closed. Folks can come back up. All right.
Your job.
I knew it'd be quick. Anything else from the building department, planning department?
I also showed this to the building inspectors. They're only concerned that they were staying away from that easement. With the 5 foot, they're okay with it being 5 feet from the easement.
Okay.
Building inspector said they'd be okay with it? Is that what you said? Okay.
I showed, all 4 petitions in front of you tonight to the building inspectors to get their feedback for you.
Okay.
And for RT, the ordinance is 30 feet? It's not a 25%, or did that all go away?
I thought that all went away.
It
didn't
all went away. They took away the 25% for the rear yard and made it a flat number.
So when this was developed, we were still under that 25%?
Yes.
Okay. My only concern, which isn't gonna concern me too much, because I have one more meeting on this board, but that you guys might be, this might open up a need or a want for more people to be doing this in these areas, so.
So before they even were able to submit, they had to come in, they had to meet with me, they had to give me their plans and show me their plans and talk through their plans. If it's another one, especially considering you have the 15-foot easement on both sides of the property line. With that easement, with how tight that corridor is, similar fashion will be taken with any future petitions. You have to come in, you have to show me your plans, and you have to come in front of the board and prove your findings of fact and have that form with them.
Okay,
You have to prove their practical difficulty and their hardship.
okay.
That house is a slab?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, the problem here is that these were built on such small lots, it didn't give anybody any opportunity to expand on them if they wanted to.
Exactly right.
Yeah. This is just, like I said, this will be your guys' problem going forward. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Ashley.
Not if we defer it to the town council.
Well, this is a developmental variance.
We'll get you one way or another, man.
Okay.
He was just elected to the town council, so
I know,
that's
I
why
voted
he's...
for you.
Oh, thank you. Are you trying to sway my vote?
Now you have to abstain.
I appreciate it. I just have a tough time with these properties because I wish more room was given to the property owner to make some of these improvements, rather than having to come into the BZA and not being in compliance. I wish that they had the opportunity to do that.
Well, I understand their problem, you know, with needing the extra space for the extra bedroom and that. But I live in Lindsay too. My backyard is 35 feet, which I couldn't even put a shed up because of the easement and, I mean, it just wouldn't fit. It wouldn't work
Yeah.
properly, you know. And it's just crowded. I mean, there's not gonna be any room back there. I know, I mean, I've got a 12 by 24 slab, but if I had walls on that, I mean, it would be pretty cramped back there. So, I don't know.
I mean, the backyard isn't really living space per se because of the dip when you get to the end, so it's not like we're losing out on the living space. We can't use it.
I understand that. I'm just saying for, you know, you put walls around it and all of a sudden, you've got, and you did remonstrators, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Yeah, and there was no remonstrators against it, so apparently the neighbors don't care. And you got a fence around the yard?
Mhm. I sent Ashley pictures of the backyard too.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I see it there.
Page 5.
Yeah, I see the backyard now.
This is currently a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom?
2.
This is a 2?
Yeah, there are a lot of 2 bedrooms there now.
Okay.
And the addition won't be a bedroom, it will be just like an office, living room area.
Is that Bob?
No
Yes,
plans-
I'm here.
Okay, hi, Bob.
No plans for plumbing out there or anything like that, just,
No plumbing.
no plumbing? Yeah, I could go either way, but like Nick said.
And we're talking about something that's fairly new too, you know? It was in compliance when it was built. I don't know, when was your house built? You know?
That's true, right?
We finished it in May of '21.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that one. We're not talking about a hardship that was created by a zoning ordinance that was adopted after house was already here. This is something that had an opportunity to be in compliance in the past year.
Well, it wouldn't have been in compliance when they built it either, because it's 15 feet over.
No, I understand, yeah.
Over the building line. So,
I don't see the hardship.
yeah, I was reading that here.
Like I said, I wish our builders our developers can give people a little bit more room to expand on their homes if they chose to, without jumping through these hoops, but it's what we're dealing with tonight.
Some do.
Some do.
Well, we're also trying to get bigger lots in the plan commission when they come before us, you
Oh,
know,
that's good.
'cause I don't like the small lots either. I don't like my lot, you know, it's easy to cut.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Well, we love the house, we would love to stay. We weren't anticipating my husband being forced to work from home, so his office is sharing half of my daughter's bedroom right now.
Is that addition gonna be the same size as that pad?
It'll be 2 feet more to the south, but it could be the same size as the pad if you wanted us to scale it down by 2 feet.
Well, I'm just trying to visualize putting walls around that pad, what it's gonna look like back there. And that similar to addition you're gonna put on, it's gonna have all those windows and all that? The picture you show is,
Did you see, you saw the rendering, correct?
What did they see that one?
That rendering's on the iPad.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'll look like that, because the original picture I sent Ashley where it's not finished all the way was just a basic idea until Rick had his person draw that for us for the meeting.
Part of the tough job we have up here sometimes is thinking beyond the petitioner, in which this case it's you and your family. And, you know, like I said, there are several homes like this up and down this strip now that if we were to approve this, and of course circumstances are different for different individuals, but if we were to approve this, it would be hard to defend denying this in the future for these similar type of houses up and down the road. And the next road over too, right, Ashley? I mean, we've got quite a few homes like this there.
Looks like 69 and 68 have shut-offs at the back, but without looking at their plats and pulling their plats, I couldn't tell you any type of setback.
Okay. Yeah.
there's a lot of small yards back there.
A lot of them,
A
right?
lot of small backyards, yeah. On Drummond and on Cary and, you know.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, this is a board decision, and, as Attorney Austin stated earlier, if you were denied this request tonight, I mean, he spelled out really the course of action for you going forward, but the big thing is that you wouldn't be able to come back to this board, any sooner than a year unless you made drastic changes to the plans. But you're free to build anything that's in compliance with our zoning ordinance without coming to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So this is gonna be a board decision. I'm gonna solicit a motion unless you folks think a deferral would help you regroup and think about a better path forward in the next 30 days or so.
Well, if we're in the compliance, that's only 5 feet past the house right now, right? That doesn't seem to be any good.
Right, I mean, well, the fact is, we're on the 35-foot setback right now, so it basically means that, you know, you can't do anything like that.
And it is possible that no one else will ever ask to do this too. I know you're looking forward for people that may, but they
Yeah.
also may not.
Right, no, you're completely right. Yeah, but we also have to, you know, you have your findings of fact that you all submitted, and it's our job to determine whether, these are sufficient to meet the findings of fact as well. And I would say that, without speaking for the majority of this board, I would say that number 3, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance, resulting in practical difficulties in the use of this property is probably the one that a few of us are hung up on.
Well, to me, it doesn't show any difficulty there, involved other than the fact that they need more room because of somebody working from home.
Right.
You know, and, that to me isn't a difficulty to grant a variance for.
With the lack of hardship, in my opinion. and what other people are buying in other neighborhoods. I'm gonna call this the Three Seasons room.
Mhm.
They're buying those in gangbusters and other developments.
But they're
This,
allowed, they're doing them within the
my
building.
point being, the precedence this will set could be a tidal wave of
Request?
requests, yeah.
Right. Well, folks, I'm giving you the opportunity, like you said, for a deferral, or I can solicit a motion to either approve or deny this right now.
If they defer, nothing's gonna change, right? Like you can't go at a shorter amount, I guess, per se.
Right.
For it to work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this, like I said, this is a board decision, being that it is a developmental variance. And unless there's any other discussion with staff or legal or the petitioner, if anybody would like to make a motion, I'm soliciting one.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir?
please, remember the necessity of including what has not been met by the petitioner, if there's an adverse motion, or what has been met, if there's a favorable motion.
Okay.
There have been tendered findings, proposed findings by the petitioner, and that's the starting place, and you've been commenting about that here just now briefly.
All right.
But it should be part of a decision, whatever it is.
Okay. Thank you. So would anybody like to make a motion, including the findings?
I'll make a motion that we deny the petitioner's request due to item number 3 in the finding of facts, where they state the rear of the house is built to current setback line, therefore the entire proposed addition will be over the back line by 15 feet. My husband's place of employment changed his location status to be remote, and we need the extra space. He is currently using half of our daughter's bedroom as an office. I don't see that as a difficulty or a hardship, so,
Okay.
for that finding of fact.
All right, thank you, John. Do we have a second on the motion? Is there a second on the
I'll
motion?
second the motion. But, I believe number 1 is, I agree with, item number 1, the injurious to public health. I agree with the petitioner's description of number 2 regarding the adverse manner. Number 3, however, I can't pull a hardship out of that,
Okay.
with the findings of fact.
Motion by Mr. Caporo, seconded by Mr. Wilkening, to deny this developmental variance due to the fact that item number 3 of the findings of fact does not seem to be able to be met. Any questions on the motion? Folks, do you have any questions? No? Okay, roll call?
Mr. Jackson?
No.
Mr. Wilkening?
No.
Wait.
What, hold
We're
on.
voting.
It would be a yes on the
So,
yes
yes,
to
no.
deny, or no to deny.
Let's try again.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
You gotta start over.
yes on the
Yeah.
motion?
Ray, you're free to choose who you want, but
No, no.
he seconded the motion.
No, I was on board, it's
Okay, all right.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Capora?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
Yes.
Mr. Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thanks for coming in, folks.
I do have to say Ashley has been on there.
Well,
So thank you.
no, thank you. Thank you. Item number 3 of new business is Galligan 13225 Truman Circle, developmental variance. Owner Bill and Susan Galligan, 13225 Truman Circle in Cedar Lake. Petitioner Bill Galligan of the same, the property being in the vicinity of the same. This developmental variance is to allow the petitioner to construct a garage addition onto the existing structure with a front yard setback of 10 feet. Mr. Austin, legal?
Legals are in order for the public hearing.
All right, thank you, sir. We have a petitioner here for this item. All right, please come on up. And please state your name and address for the record.
Bill Gelgan, 13225 Truman Circle.
All right, thank you, sir. And the reason for your request?
We're looking to, and I think you might have a rendering of, like the overall project, what we're looking to do. And we're looking to put an addition on the house along with the garage. And we were requesting the variance because the one corner of the garage would be within 10 feet, or, at the 10-foot line of the setback.
Okay. Ms. Abernathy?
So, his house is falling in line with the existing house. If you were to try and move it to the north side of the house, that's where his well is, you can't build over the well. And if you look on Lake County GIS and the GIS map they included, he's got some pretty extreme contours going down. So that's pretty much where he's got it placed. It's about it.
Yeah, out towards the lake in the southeast corner of that lot.
Yep.
Drops off pretty sudden.
Yep, and some of the pictures do depict that. Picture number 10 in your packet, it shows you where the addition will go, and then you can see the slope of the land going down.
Okay. So, Mr. Galgan, you're planning a living space addition as well as garage addition?
Correct.
Okay.
The living space addition that we're working with Ashley, and, obviously we gotta get our building permits yet, but, all of that will be within compliance with the current ordinances, so we weren't looking for any relief there. It's just this one corner of the garage, which would then become, an attached garage, to the existing structure, along with the addition.
Very good.
I believe on the plot of survey, it has the footprint of the addition and the proposed garage as well.
Okay. Board discussion?
Well, that corner will be right on the setback line?
It'll be 10 feet off.
You're building a 24 by 25 garage.
Correct.
And that one corner looks like,
So Mr. Kapora, he had his engineer draw kind of the line that his house is going on so that you could see the angle of the house to show that the garage is falling in line with what is currently existing.
okay, so then that outside line is the setback line or the property line?
Where the,
Where it says 150.
so that's gonna be his property line, and that's gonna be the proposed setback.
And what's the setback supposed to be there?
It would, if he were to follow ordinance, 30 feet. 30 feet from a front yard setback. So he's requesting a 20-foot reduction.
And the existing house is sitting 10 feet off.
As well, correct.
Well, 10 or 19?
It's 10. It's 19 from, that, not 19 that you're looking at is from that kind of in the middle. It goes into the house, if you follow that, up a little bit where that line is, it's 10 feet, it's all in line, so that one corner garage would be 10 feet off as the existing house is now. I don't know if that answered your question or clarifies it.
Hey, Nick, could you call the administrators first, and see if there's anybody for?
Yeah, sure. You okay right now, Jeff? We're gonna get the
I'm good for now, yes.
Okay.
All right.
Sir, have a quick seat
Sure.
for me, please. I'm gonna call up any remonstrators here for or against this variance. Anyone here for or against the variance? Ms. Abernathy, do you have anything for us?
No.
Okay, thank you. The public portion is now closed. Mr. Galligan, please step back up. Did you have anything else for us, Ashley?
Again, I had the building inspectors look at it. I have had Don take a look at it. His concern is that the addition will go into the floodplain, so before any permit can be pulled, he will need to have a topography survey with the addition and site plan put on there. He has been advised of that, and he's already working on getting that to us, so any building permit is going to go through Don's review.
Yeah, and if we, we've talked about that after Ashley brought that to our attention, and if we were in the floodplain, and I don't believe we're gonna be from what Ashley showed me the other day, or the other week, I guess it was. But if it is, we could always shorten up that front part of the addition to pull it out of the floodplain if necessary.
Okay.
Well, how much shortening up would it be?
I don't know, if we're not in the floodplain, we would leave it as you see there, because the floodplain issue would be for the proposed addition, not for the garage.
Oh, okay.
It would be, because our property, that one picture that we took, kind of right after where that addition, the backside addition would be, the property drops off pretty dramatic. In that picture there, you can see that is up, and I just kind of drew on there with a, Sharpie, but the property drops off pretty dramatically, and the addition would actually be on that left side, that, the line kind of going through there. So we believe it's probably going to be out of the floodplain, because, it's still higher up where we're building, but.
So that existing garage is gonna be torn down?
Which one are you referring to, the one on the left there?
I don't know, if you got, I'm looking at a picture with
The attached
a
one?
truck and 3 cars, or two
Oh,
cars.
that is actually, gonna be part of the addition. So there'll actually be, in the backside of that existing garage, I guess it won't be, it will be remodeled, because part of that would be the staircase for the addition, and then it'll leave us like a 10 by 10 area.
It'll no longer be a garage.
No, it'll be like maybe a 10-foot area of it, that would be like a tool room or something, but the majority of that existing garage is gonna have a staircase going through it.
And the new garage is gonna go where the truck and that are sitting.
Correct, like if you look at one of them pictures, I drew, you're probably looking at it, I drew like a magic marker there where the garage would be. So yes, the truck and the black car would be within the confines of the garage.
So you don't have any concerns, sir, about parking in front of this garage with only 10 foot there off the road?
No.
Visitors or?
No, because where the white car is, we'll still have that room. And then the Truman Circle, that street there runs on an angle. So on the far side, where the little Pontiac is parked, you have about, I believe it's 38 feet on the property line on that side. Because the street doesn't run straight, it runs on an angle. So I think we figured, and there's actually a little more concrete to the left of the white car there.
Okay.
So I think we'll still have parking, not counting what would go in the garage, for about 6 cars.
Okay.
So, we still should have plenty to, accommodate any visitors.
This is on the west side of the lake?
Yeah.
And,
Right behind the marina?
Correct, we're 3 houses off the marina, off North Point.
Dead end street.
How close are the other houses in that neighborhood to the street? Is that 10 foot off consistent with the neighborhood?
This one looks to be about 4.8 feet from the street to the tip of the house. The other one set further back. And that one looks to be 30. And that's just on the side that he's on.
So, can you verify for us, Ashley, the northwest corner of his house right now is about 10 foot from the road, from the building, or, property line? I think it was measured on an angle, but I guess,
It kinda looks to be.
yeah.
Going on the angle, and this is just with GIS, it's about 16.3, but GIS's lines can kind of be
Right,
wonky.
okay.
Yeah, I was just going by what the, our draft person that we're working with on the building plans, when we were coming before the zoning board, we asked her to put them measurements in there, so that's not, you know, our measurements with a tape measure, that was her doing it off the plot survey.
Okay.
So it could be less. Or
It could be.
more.
Yeah,
And the existing, detached garage along the north side of the property, that's staying?
correct. We basically use that as a shed, there's a fence around there, and the house was built in 1924, the garage is probably as old, or, I don't know when the garage was built, but, you know, I don't even know if you could get a current car in there, even if we wanted to, you know, they're just narrow garages and narrow doors.
Well, I like the fact that they aren't requesting a garage that's above and, or I guess greater than our maximum required, or maximum allowed for garage size. I do understand that this property is difficult and that putting the garage somewhere else is maybe impossible. And if the garage isn't coming any closer to the, you know, in distance than the current house is to the property line, I don't see a big issue with that. I don't know where else that they could put this garage on that property.
Is that a motion, Mr. President?
Well, I can't do that. I just, if anybody, unless anybody else has any opinions on it.
I don't have an issue with the garage, but the variable of the side yard and the floodplain, I mean,
With
again,
Don's
I
review.
I like numbers.
Right.
It'll be reviewed by Don before any permits issued.
And again, I like numbers.
His plans, I think, they're showing a 9-foot side yard setback.
Correct,
On the south
right,
end.
so we wouldn't need a variance for there, we'd be within the 8-foot, you know, of the, you know, current ordinance, so we're proposing 9 feet off the property line, and
So the motion could include not in excess of 9 feet?
I could if you wanted.
yeah, I mean, we're pretty set on that, I'm comfortable with that.
You need to know that if she gets something back from our engineer that says it's 4 feet, then
It won't be, you know, because the plot of survey here that is before you tonight, that's what our architect draft person already drew up, and, you know, we're working through some plans for this footprint, nothing different, you know.
and just for the record,
Mhm.
it says here at the bottom, Heartland Title Services, Glenn Crack at the top, if I'm saying that right. This survey is from July 15th of 2020, or the drawing we're looking at, and the modifications are from 2020.
The modifications are current,
Okay,
the survey is older.
okay.
So if the motion's made, it would be wise to make sure that a topography survey is reviewed and approved by Mr. Oliphant too, per Ms. Abernathy's request.
Do we need to say that any changes, any reduced changes, or whatever Don says it is that, everybody good with that?
You can do it either way, per the engineer's review and recommendation.
Yeah, and we're good with that, I mean, we're trying to comply, you know, with.
No, I got you,
Yeah,
I got you.
We don't wanna be in the floodplain, honestly.
I understand.
And I thank you for asking for a little bit more side, or giving yourself a little bit more side yard than what our bare minimum is, you know. Even though it's only a foot, it's nice to see that.
Well, it's kinda nice to walk around too, I mean,
Yeah.
just, you know,
Yep.
Some people come over here and ask for direction, and, when they get direction from staff, they
No, actually,
They don't consider it direction.
No, I would echo what some of the other, folks up here tonight said. Ashley was great, 'cause she was the one who brought up the topo stuff to our attention, you know, that, and she says, you know, you don't want any part, if there's 1 foot in the floodplain, the whole building's considered, and, you know, we certainly don't wanna go that route.
Okay.
So, no, we're good with that. I mean, we're definitely gonna.
But that's not in front of us, the floodplain.
No,
That's just,
no,
10 feet up front.
correct.
Yeah.
You do have findings proposed by the petitioner. You may want to look at them pretty carefully. They're a little weak
Okay.
for describing the situation.
Everyone had a chance to review these?
Yeah.
You folks, it was brought up earlier, you guys have your own well?
Correct.
There's no fire hydrants and,
No, we're on our own well, and there's, you know, no fire hydrant there.
I know it is pretty tight through there. Emergency equipment, I guess, is the only other concern that I could possibly have.
Yeah, they got a tight turn to make in there, just keep making around that turn there to get to the home too.
Yeah, and we're not bringing it any closer to the property line than what that one corner of the existing house is currently.
Well, this looks like quite a project.
It is, we're excited about it. We're living in unincorporated Cedar Lake, and we had the opportunity to buy this house a couple of years ago, and we decided to make it our permanent residence, and that's where we plan on staying, so, you know, we, you know, like to make some improvements to the property.
Well, Jerry, being that you're a numbers guy too, do you have any issue with, if this does get approved, you know, we're having discussions about this garage not coming any closer than the current house is, you know, that 10 foot or whatever that's been thrown around? We don't really have that number, we don't have that solid number anywhere on these plans. You know, we've got a 19 foot, we don't have that number anywhere on this survey. So would we be okay with approving this, if that's kind of a hang-up or an issue that some people might have, without that number even being there?
Well, what's presented here on this survey is the, you know, is what we have, and if this isn't right, then none of it's any good.
Right.
I don't like making motions like that, but based on the what we have in front of us.
Are you working on the topography survey now, sir? Is that
We
the
were
process?
We were waiting to see what happened tonight, you know, before we engaged. In fact, our phone call tomorrow, if we were fortunate enough to have it approved, you know, would be to the surveyor, and they're about 4 to 6 weeks out. You know,
You must know somebody.
What's that?
You must know somebody.
I don't, that's just what I was told, so it might be longer, but, you know, we're certainly, you know, gonna work within that. I know Ashley showed us a picture of the topo, and I believe it was, the GIS. And it didn't appear that this was in there, but, you know, we'll certainly, you know, work with the surveyor to make sure it, you know, absolutely isn't, and...
Well, that's why I was asking about the date of the survey, because some surveys from over there are older than you and I put together.
Well, the house was from 1924, so I can certainly appreciate that.
My thoughts were that maybe, I understand he wanted to wait till they get some kind of decision today from us, but would you guys want to request that that gets done and is reviewed by Don before any decision made by this board too? Something to consider. It just eliminates one more variable and one more question mark in these whole plans.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's good enough, if I may add, where this, the architect put that them 10-foot line, 'cause she drew that line that's kind of perpendicular to the house, to the corner of the garage.
But that that's what you're requesting, right? The 10-foot, and that would be from the northwest corner of the garage?
Yeah, could I approach you just to show you what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What I was looking at here was, you know, like all of this is just a straight line,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the 10-foot of that line. And it's hitting this corner here, which is the existing house. And then, you know, that's the corner of the proposed garage.
And this 19-foot is from this line to this
Right,
corner where the new foyer is?
yeah, like kind of, she
Yeah.
put that one in there.
Okay,
And then this, where this intersects here to there, it's just, you know, a straight line staying within that
10-foot.
10-foot. That's, you know,
Okay.
her measurement.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps you.
No, it does, yeah, we weren't 100% sure whether that was consistent all the way through. I wasn't. Well, what's the board's feeling on this? Do we need more information, or are you all prepared to make a decision this evening?
I like the numbers, but I think I can put something together otherwise.
Okay.
What? You like the numbers, but what?
I said I think I could throw something together otherwise in a motion.
Oh, okay.
And I think what the guy wants to do here is feasible, but the exhibit here is, I don't like doing this like this sometimes.
I know you don't, Jerry. We have to often, though, it seems.
Isn't the, survey the foundation for your motion, your
Yes.
consideration? And it's not accurate enough yet?
Well, the proposed garage, we're calling that 10 feet, and, I guess it says 10 feet in that corner. So,
Well, that's not a surveyor's 10 feet, that's a layman's 10 feet.
I totally understand that if it has to be 6 feet, you know, you might not wanna know that.
Well, the one thing I would add is that, you know, we would, if the board approved the 10 feet, we would make sure it was at 10 foot. You know, we wouldn't put it at 6 foot, you know, because, you know, with the building plans, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, we'd make sure whatever the board approved or, you know, passed, that we would comply with what, you know, the board allowed us to do, so, you know, if you say 10 foot, it'll be 10 foot.
Would you be comfortable with a deferral until you can be sure about that 10 feet?
You know, I'd appreciate it if you could vote on it tonight, you know, because just, we're hoping to start in March. And that probably wouldn't happen with a deferral or two, especially if, as you mentioned, you know, we might be more than 4 to 6 weeks out just with the surveyor, and to get back onto the agenda, you know, it might be March before we're, you know, seeing you
You have
folks again.
you have a really big project here, and if the as-bills don't come back correct, then we have, you have a huge headache.
It's too late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's too late.
huge headache. So,
So what other information do you want to see, Gary? If
Well,
we
this is-
deferred this? I agree with you.
I mean,
is a
this,
big
like
project.
Dave said, this is measurements off the paper, not the, you know, the surveyor, you know, measurements. And I don't want the guy spending $5,000 on survey stuff, but he's gonna have that done, well, 4 to 6 weeks.
Mhm.
Well, that was kind of our concern too, as far as, you know, spending money, and if it was something that wasn't feasible anyway for the board to consider, then,
Yeah, well,
you know.
I guess as long as you understand that those boomerangs are only, you know, if there's any boomerangs, they're coming your way.
No, and we're comfortable with that, you know, we would stay within that, or, you know, we'd make sure it was at least a 10 foot off the line, and, you know, we're pretty, you know, confident that it will be, you know, just from the builder that we're, you know, talking about using, that we use for another project, you know, he looked at it, and So, you know, we're fairly comfortable that if you approve the 10-foot, we'd be able to, you know, certainly comply with that, because,
Wherever the 10-foot ends up.
wherever the 10-foot ends up.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion. Okay. I'd like to make a motion regarding we approve the developmental variance to allow the petitioner to construct a garage addition into an existing structure with a front yard setback of 10 feet, to include the findings of fact, along with the floodplain evaluation by our engineer, and with a maximum of 9 feet. With the findings of fact, I believe the application of the terms do create some practical difficulties based on the structure that's there to put a full-size garage in with the existing structures.
Can you clarify that 9 foot for me, Jerry?
I think we talked about a maximum of 9 feet.
The south side yard.
Okay,
Yeah,
side yard
yard
setback?
The south side yard, yes.
To maintain that 9
Yes,
foot?
Yeah,
Okay.
or less, depending on the, what our engineer comes up with after the topography study's done.
9 foot or less,
Or more.
Maximum of 9 feet.
max,
You probably
minimum
wanted,
of 9 feet.
What?
you wanted at least 9 feet, right? The side
Well, I
yard?
think they wanted 9,
Yeah,
and it was concerned about it getting into the floodplain. So, I'm gonna call it a maximum of 9.
Yeah, I think the floodplain, if it comes in anywhere, it's gonna be in the
Condition on
front.
the east.
Yeah.
9 feet or greater, I think, yeah, for the south side yard setback, but the floodplain concern is on the east side of the property with the addition.
okay.
Okay, so the floodplain part of this is
In the rear,
in the rear, on the street side.
On the lake side.
on the lake
On
side.
the lakeside, sorry. And it could be more than 9 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll change it to a minimum of 9 feet.
Okay.
Does that work?
We have a second on the motion?
No less than 9.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Wilkening, seconded by Mr. Jackson, to approve this developmental variance, allowing the petitioner to construct a garage addition onto the existing structure with a front yard setback of 10 feet. Also contingent a floodplain evaluation by the town engineer. Also with the condition that the petitioner maintain a minimum of 9 foot side yard setback on the south side, and to also include the findings of fact. Sir, you understand the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Austin?
The floodplain evaluation by the town engineer at the cost and expense of the petitioner.
Very good.
I'll amend my motion to the same.
Cover that 10 feet area over there.
Yeah, that's 10 feet, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Wilkening amended his motion to require that the floodplain evaluation is at the cost of the petitioner. And you're clear on the motion, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call?
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Kabor?
Yes,
Mr. Bungie?
No.
Mr. Okuda?
Yes, the motion carries 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4 of new business is Mi'kmaq Developmental Variance. Owner Mi'kmaq Family Trust, 11323 Klein Avenue, Crown Point, Indiana. Petitioner Jim and Deborah Mi'kmaq of the same. The property being in the vicinity of 13903 Lack Drive. This developmental variance is to allow the petitioner to construct 40-foot by 25-foot accessory structure in the front yard of a lake lot approximately 27 feet from the front yard setback line, approximately 7 feet from the private drive, and to extend over the 50-foot building line. Mr. Austin?
Legals are in order for the public hearing. Note the submission of proposed findings by the petitioner.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have a petitioner here for this item? All right. Folks, please come on up and state your name and address for the record.
Jim Mi'kmaq, 11323 Klein Avenue, Crown Point, Indiana. Deborah Meekma, 11323 Klein Avenue, Crown Point.
All right, thank you. And the reason for your request?
This is somewhat of a non-conforming lot, and there's somewhat of a contour of the hill there. We'd like to keep that setback from the lake, even with the neighbors to the west side. Also, it's a proposed house to the east. With the house being in that position, we kind of encroach a little bit on the, past the building line.
50 foot.
Yeah, 50 foot there. You got the 20 for the easement, private drive, and then the 30 feet starts beyond that.
All right, Ms. Abernathy?
So, just a bit of background on this one. Back in February, the preliminary plat, and March, the final plat got approved for this re-subdivision of what used to be a one lot off of Black Drive. During that conversation, it was determined that they would not front off of Black. They would be addressed off of Black, but they would not front. A private drive would be dedicated for entrance for lots 1 and 2. That's going to be at the front of the yard that you can see where that 20-foot private drive and utility easement is. And they gave, the subdivider gave easement, egress easement access to the rest of the houses off of Black. So with that, when they went through the subdivision process with the 20-foot drive being in the front closer towards Moore's, it was determined then that they would need the 30-foot setback off that 20-foot private drive, because that would be where their house would be fronting from. So they are requesting to have their accessory structure in the front yard over 27 feet from the property line, but only 7 feet from their private drive, which is their frontage.
And that private drive is located in which part of this property here?
It's on the east side of the property.
And that's the one coming off of, what is it, Binion?
Binion.
Binion?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that private drive kind of circles the neighbor's drive, and it's the front of the lot, but it almost looks like the rear lot, the way it faces the lake. So the lake is on the opposite end of this lot here. It's opposite end of the driveway.
You guys have got a lot going on in this piece of property. A lot of numbers here. Just trying to digest it all.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
So, according to this diagram, you got the house and the garage is there already.
Yes, the attached garage, yes, you got the house, attached garage, space between the garage, and then the accessory building,
It's the barn,
yes,
what you're calling the barn.
yep.
So where does that drive come in now?
Keep going back to the rear of that, you'll see the 20-foot utility private drive.
Oh, yeah.
That circles around to Binion, and then the 30 feet starts beyond that.
There's a house on this property right now?
No.
No, okay.
That house has been demolished. It was a contingency before they could get final. The house
Okay.
had to be demolished.
But these are your plans though for...
Yeah.
That's part of that thing we had a few months back,
Yes, this
Yes,
is
sir.
K&R Lakeview. This is the Perez property.
where he tore down that house and then he couldn't build on one and sold on the other.
The Torres' house is gone, and DVG split it up.
Yeah, he's gonna take the other side.
That's
So
where,
this is gonna be that road he was talking about to get back to that.
yes, sir,
So he's on a dedicated or a street,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. This is when DVG found that 100-plus-year-old document for Lac Drive.
Right, right, yeah.
That's another subject, right?
It was on parchment, wasn't it?
No, it's not a subject, it's a done deal.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not it's a private drive, right?
Lac Drive is private drive.
Yeah.
Okay, now I understand. And there's nothing there, you're gonna build everything.
Correct, it's vacant.
What does that do for the coverage? Is it well within the coverage rate?
I think it was 13%. I calculated it all, and I have it in the town file that I gave to Mr. Austin at the beginning of the meeting. At the building department level, we have no issue with the accessory structure being located in what's considered the front yard here.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that either, I'm just wondering what the coverage rate on the property is. Does it exceed it with this barn, or?
There should be a post-it note towards the front on the file.
13.3.
13.3, Chris?
Yeah.
All right, thank
Coverage?
you.
Coverage.
Oh, well, still is better.
Okay, so you're looking for 3 foot on the front yard setback, and then we have this approximate 7 feet from the private drive, actually. Is there anything in our zoning ordinance that states any distance from a private drive?
So with the change to the new ordinance, it allows for a property to front off of a private or dedicated road, as long as it's improved to town standards, which is what this one was platted off of, was the change in the ordinance to allow that private drive. That's essentially what they are requesting to build 7 feet from approximately is their road, is their front road, their road.
Black Drive?
Nope, the private drive.
Oh, the private drive.
To the southeast.
And the private drive services, how many other?
It'll just be their house
Oh.
and the private, when they build.
Yeah.
So, okay, now it's all making sense, all right. So, in your findings, you have that, you have the location of the house listed in item number 3 of the findings. And what you're saying is if you need relief from that barn you have listed on here to the private drive, you'd have to shift that house closer to the lake. That's what you're
Right.
pointing
And it
at.
wouldn't be kind of conforming with our neighbors, it'd be kind of in front of our neighbors, kind of blocking them.
Okay, understood now, thank you.
But the garage is not attached to the house?
Not, the garage is attached,
Yeah.
yeah, but not the
I mean,
barn.
just at that corner?
Yes.
That's another concern of how attached is attached, because they're looking at just a little attachment.
Well, that could, I mean, if that doesn't meet minimum requirement, that can be,
Yeah.
you know.
What is, it touches, it's attached?
I would say that's a stretch in this case, because it literally just looks like 2 corners.
Yeah, I know, but,
Needs to have more, I would say that needs to have more of a shared wall to be attached, at least a couple feet. I mean,
yeah, for a garage type, I would think also that you should have at least a half a wall shared with the houses. You know, like some garages are offset, like mine. You know,
Chris, you had the file over there for this property, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what, either you or Ashley, what's the total width of this lot and the total square footage of this lot as well?
Lot's 125.
Width? In width?
It's 276.35 in length and 121.5 in width. For an approximate square footage of 38,066 square foot.
Okay.
And that's according to the recorded Mylar.
What was the width on yours, you said?
I said
121.5.
I got 125 on this piece,
DVG one.
DVG thing.
Yeah.
At the rear on the lake, but where your frontage is, where the drive is 121.5.
I'm still 125 on both ends, on this one. See?
I'm looking on this. This is the front property line that you're requesting to be back from. That says 121.5. And if you look on Lake County GIS, where the front property line is, it's also 121.5 because they go off the recorded Mylar.
John and Jerry, I need a little bit of history lesson on this property.
What is your question? This was
I saw a house
a...
being demolished and trees being torn down over the summer from the lake, and I'm like, oh, something's
well,
happening.
how much more history you need?
Well, now it's 2 lots, so.
It's 2 lots, they're gonna build on the westerly lot, and the original owners are gonna build on the easterly portion.
Okay.
So it's
Was that Torres?
two,
Is that what's that their name?
Torres or Perez?
Correct.
Perez, sorry, I keep saying Torres.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah, they're gonna be on the east lot, and the private drive going around the back, like Ashley said, improve the town standards.
And that will be approved? Once-
Yes.
Yeah.
So when this came to the plan commission to get a two-lot subdivision, there weren't any plans pinned down as far as what would be built here, or?
Just 2 lots.
Two lots.
Just 2 lots, and the deal was they had to tear down the house,
Yeah.
right away, you know. Wasn't that right? They had to tear it down.
There was a stipulation, yeah.
Yeah, and then they're gonna make 2 lots out of it, and then that's where I recognized the road, because they had to get back there to the second lot that they're getting,
Okay.
off of Binion, right? Off of Binion?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mr. Austin, since this private road has to be improved, if this lot is built on first, the whole private drive has to be improved, right?
It does.
And that's between them and their adjacent property owners?
It is.
Okay. Okay,
All good?
yeah. Any other questions, Mr. Kubica?
None at the moment, sir.
Okay.
Uh,
If I missed anything, please jump in.
We're gonna get to remonstrance real quick, folks, so is there anybody here for or against this variance? Anyone here for or against the variance? Ms. Abernathy, anything online?
No, sir.
Okay. Public portion is now closed. I'm just trying to find the trouble with this lot. I mean, you guys have a pretty good sized lot here, I would say. You're approaching an acre. And it's 125 foot wide, but we're having problems fitting what you want on this property. And,
Well, they have to come before the plan commission, correct, for what you're gonna build, right?
Why, it's platted, it's.
Oh, no, all right,
Platted lot?
They've done that already.
yeah, right,
Someone has.
It's getting late.
the problem I have with this whole situation is that a parcel that once could be usable for this plan now has been split in half, and now it can't work. So we've allowed this parcel to be split into 2 parcels, and now we've got to have variances on this parcel to make it work, and who knows what we're gonna be dealing with your neighbor's property too, when they decide to build.
Well, when this was before us and we divided it, we had no idea of what would be built on that property that they own. Nor did we have, I don't remember if we had an idea of what the Peresas were gonna build.
We did, we thought they were gonna build a house, they stood here a couple times and told us they're gonna build a house that's conforming with our code.
Correct, okay,
They were
yes.
gonna get 2 for 1 out of the subdivision, but for the, uniqueness of road or driveway access, or however you wanna term it,
Right,
they were gonna build compliance with our codes,
right.
2 for 1.
And the zoning on this?
R2?
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 So this parcel far exceeds our minimum for R2 as well.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, big
I
time,
would think so.
yeah, especially on the size. I'm just having a hard time.
R2.
R2 day? All right, thank you.
Well, then the question arises, is the barn, what size is the barn for that property, which is less than an acre?
1,000 square feet.
You could put a 1,000 square foot on it?
That is the maximum accessory structure size, and that's what they have anticipated on this plan presented to you.
Okay.
Pole barn, middle-sided?
Yes.
That would be a different variant.
Yeah.
Well, the
You
garage,
can't- You can't have a metal structure,
1,001.
metal.
well, it'd be a garage, sided,
Has to be metal
yeah.
sided, so.
Be a framed building, not
Yeah.
a posted.
Just a stick built.
Well, I'm all about putting your stuff inside, I'm just not sure where the hardship is with a vacant piece of property.
Well, like I said, we wanna try and stay in line with the house to the west, don't wanna obstruct Perez's view when they get to their point.
Yeah.
To call this the front of the lot, you know, and basically the lakeside is gonna be the focal point of the lot.
Yeah, you have lakefront property and the backyard is the lake.
Yeah,
I get it.
and, you know, you already got the 20-foot easement there, egress plus easement. So you got the 30 feet extra there, which is a big piece of it, but.
So if the barn were to move, I'm gonna call it northeast, you almost wouldn't need to be here, would you?
They moved it north, so you would take away that 18-foot in between the garage and the barn?
Well, I'm just saying if the barn, what I'm looking at here, if the barn went straight left, you almost wouldn't have to be here.
No, that's there just for guest parking, a couple cars could slip in there.
Yeah, I got you.
know.
I got you. Like Mr. Recupedo said, this is a vacant piece of property. So the hardship of I want, or I'd like to, is, I'm not sure that's a selling point at this stage of the game.
That's the problem I have with it. It's not the fault of the plan commission, it's just circumstance of the situation. We took a property that had one home on it, now we're splitting it up for two homes, which is fine if you could meet the zoning ordinance with those two homes. But now, we can't meet the zoning ordinance with this proposal. And who knows if we're gonna be able to meet the zoning ordinance with the next proposal for the property to the east. I have a problem with that.
I would love to have a building there so you can put all your stuff inside.
Yeah.
I like all the stuff inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do.
Yeah. And it's
If you were here for a little bigger building somewhere else on the property, well, that
Yeah.
may be something, I feel a little different about, but as of right now, this is vacant property.
Even if it's somewhat of a non-conforming lot, I mean, if you look at.
Well, it's totally conforming. You said non-conforming when you first walked up there, and this is totally conforming.
But this doesn't really border on the street, you know, where I can drive up and say, this is the front of the house, you know, the back of the house.
You have experience with lakefront property.
Yeah.
So, I do, Nick does.
To argue
Ray
your
does.
point there just a little
Sure.
bit, sir, they did put a front yard on there with a front road with that 20-foot utility drive and putting the front yard setback off that in the recorded plat. That was done at the plan commission level. So it's not non-conforming, it is conforming with current zoning ordinance.
Okay.
Thank you, Ashley.
The lakefront does give it a bit of a twist.
Yeah,
But to say it's non-conforming,
That's, in my mind, I think the front of the lot is
I understand.
lakeside.
I understand.
You know,
And I know this is different from what you had before.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
A lot different.
Yep.
Ray, you got anything for him?
Now I'm struggling with the hardship side of it, being that it is a vacant lot and there's flexibility there to make something work, so.
Yeah, I mean, our R2 minimum is 10,000 square,
10,000 square feet for a interior lot, 30-foot front yard setback, 30-foot rear yard, 8-foot from either side yard. With this, they platted it with 12-foot building lines for the side yard, 25 from the, a 30-foot from the rear yard, with the building line being over a lack drive, with the utilities to allow for that ingress, egress, easement, and then the 30-foot off that 20-foot drive.
okay.
So they can have a 30-foot from the 20-foot, a 30-foot from the rear yard, which is the lake, and 12-foot on either side, as long as they do not build upon the ingress, egress easement.
Okay. And you've got 18 feet of separation between both garages, I see
Correct.
it here, right?
Yeah. And that would be for additional parking, guest parking.
Which would be certainly a luxury.
Well,
We're not into the design thing, but I'm just gonna say one more time, a supersized garage was where it's supposed to be. You wouldn't have to be here,
Yeah.
other than it was a supersized garage.
Mhm. The number 3 of the findings are, folks, what I'm having a hard time with. Say to me, you've satisfied 1 and 2, but Number 3, I'm just struggling with it. Your lot is almost 4 times our minimum required, which has been deemed to be buildable for R2. So you've got almost 4 times the amount of room, and the width, I think, what are we at, 80 foot now in R2? And so we've got another 45 foot on that they've got to work with, and we still need a variance.
Yeah. And coming off with that easement there, the private drive, it's somewhat of a circular drive there that's there now. And that would kind of go in front of the accessory building garage and kind of circle back out again, back onto the easement. It doesn't show it on here, but it is.
We were hoping to retain that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you folks, obviously are aware by now, after you've heard a couple of different petitions, that, what can result in a denial here tonight. And so this will be a board decision, unless it does get deferred until next month, or the petition gets withdrawn. The decision will be made here tonight, with this being a developmental variance. This will be our decision, so.
So basically, they need to take a look at it and reposition their buildings to meet town codes or ordinances.
If they were given a denial tonight, they could, come up with plans and submit them to Ashley. As long as they meet the zoning ordinance, they can move forward with it. Or they can get a deferral, you guys can get a deferral till next month to try to make this work, but, my personal opinion is it's gotta meet the zoning ordinance. You've got plenty of property here. That's my opinion on it.
I concur.
I mean, there are a couple of issues with the swale, I see, that are provided in the photographs, but yeah, I have heard no evidence here that, just like the rest of the board comment seems to be, that, just because I want, that's not a good reason that you can't conform with the ordinance, or come closer to conforming to the ordinance, especially with this size lot, I agree.
Quite certain it's gonna be a beautiful place when you're done.
Yeah, a lot of work ahead of us. You said if it came closer, I mean, if we shrunk the distance between the garage and the barn, would that get rid of the 18 and shrink that down maybe?
If you could do that and have your setback to meet our zoning ordinance, I would have no problem with it, but then again, you wouldn't be asking for our permission either, because you'd be meeting the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, I don't think you could, even if you got rid of the 18, I don't think you would be, to me, it looks like, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I don't know if that would be, they almost be touching, there would be.
I would agree. I would agree.
And like I said, I don't want to make the barn any deeper. There is a circular drive there, but like I said, it doesn't show, but there is a circular drive there that we'd like to retain and keep it, useful.
I don't see any plans for your home here other than what you have outlined, but if it was me, I'd be trying to incorporate that attached garage into the house more to give you relief to bring that detached structure closer into the property.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. But I can't tell how that'll work because I don't see your house plans here. But in order to get that 2,100 square foot of roof, under roof that you're looking for, that's what I would be doing, and getting that in compliance with our zoning ordinance. Because I don't believe that the board's up for these plans as they are presented.
Not as presented.
No. So, this will,
Just as a minor note, because that is their front yard, if they were to build any accessory structure up there, they still would need approval for that.
for it in the front yard.
For an accessory structure in the front yard. So ordinance only allows accessory structures in the side and rear.
Okay, so what does that mean going forward if we do conform?
So if we stay within the setbacks, we still need approval to build in that
It's
spot.
an accessory build, the barn is considered an accessory building, so if you're building it opposite the lakeside,
Yeah.
it's an accessory building, it's considered the front yard,
Right.
and you would need to come back to one of these sessions and do that. So the supersized garage that I mentioned,
It's a lot more attractive.
So when you say supersized garage, you're referring to what then? Just making the garage.
the garage that you're gonna be using, you know, that's attached or not attached to your house.
Yeah, the 1,000.
Okay, so
square
if we
foot
make,
garage.
but I thought there was a limited maximum size of that.
Well, there is, but maybe that's a modification.
Go for
You'd
variance,
wanna bring, maybe,
maybe.
I mean, we can't tell you,
Yeah.
we don't do design here
Yeah, okay.
and, you know, that kind of thing.
Right,
We always can go down, but we can't go up and
right.
that kind of thing. So if you wanted to request a deferral and go, well, no, it has to be re-advertised then, right? It's an oversized garage?
Yeah, for an oversized garage.
Oversized, yeah. The deferral won't help.
So it'd be a whole different
Yes, sir.
application?
Yes,
It
sir.
would have to all be updated.
Yeah, you'd have to withdraw your request. Correct, Mr.
Withdraw.
Austin?
Withdraw this one too?
Yeah, if they wanted to go that route, that was just discussed, they'd have to withdraw their request. It wouldn't, it wouldn't benefit them to get a denial tonight.
Instead of having to,
Yeah, and like Nick said, you shove that garage toward the lake and then pull back south off of that, you have more than,
yeah.
yeah. And again,
Clarification, Mr. Austin, on that?
Sorry.
Clarification on that, Mr. Austin?
Yeah, there, needs to be a clean application pending before this body, and, sounds like we shifted from setback to use.
Yeah,
Okay,
I digress.
all right.
So what do we need to do?
So if you're considering different plans, withdrawing your request would probably be the route you wanna go right now. 'Cause
The cleanest way.
it would be clean and there would be nothing negative that would impact you. You would just come forward with new plans and start this process over again.
We just start over, but new advertising is what
Yeah.
we're planning to do.
Yeah,
And then we'd be trying to get a variance for an oversized garage,
If that's what you,
if that's what we
if
decide.
that's
Or,
what
or
you,
even a supersized garage.
yeah.
whatever you wanna call it.
And Ashley would be happy to tell you what you would need the variance for.
Okay.
Because you gotta go through her to get to us.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
But she wears two guns.
So unless you have any other questions for us, folks, are you
No, we can
requesting?
withdraw it.
Withdraw it?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll acknowledge we don't need to make a motion for that, do we, Mr. Austin?
Yes, to acknowledge and make record of it.
Just a,
I'll make a motion, we acknowledge the withdrawal.
I'll second it.
okay, motion by Mr. Wilkening, seconded by Mr. Caporo to acknowledge the petitioners withdraw their petition. Roll call?
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes.
Mr. Pecora?
Yes.
Mr. Bungie?
Yes.
Mr. Thubato?
Yes, motion carries 5-0.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
See you
Take
soon.
care.
Yep.
Public comment? Anyone here for public comment? Ms. Abernathy, do you have anything online?
I have nothing online,
Oh, you got
but
stuff
I
on
have
paper?
stuff for you guys.
Okay.
Homework?
Oh, homework?
I realize homework.
And homework.
I have been working diligently the past couple months with Mr. Salatas and Mr. Austin to work on an update to the BZA application packet, and that is being what is handed out to all of you gentlemen right now. This is for your review, to take a look through it, see what you like about it, if anything needs to change. There's a couple of items in there that I do want you guys to make sure you take a look at, specifically on the notification of the public, on if you wanted to have the onus be on the petitioner, have the petitioner doing the legal advertisements. I would be creating them and providing them to the petitioner. They do the posting to the newspapers, they do the certified, and they get all the proof to me. Or we make the variance fee cover, the variance fee application fee cover the notification and we increase the notification fee. So there's two parts in that'll say alternatively, that's at your discretion on what you prefer.
Okay.
But this is something that we've been working on to get updated with the hope of potentially implementing it next year.
Okay.
There's no hope about it. There is absolutely no hope about it. There's been more work done on these matters in the last 4 months than there was in the previous 4 years. If you will look on page 2, you're going to note that we guide by this application packet our petitioners to minimum amounts or minimum requirements of submission, pictures, legal description, things that, you know, normal folks who don't do this every day wouldn't have a real good idea or grip to do. But it helps them and it helps you. Makes the process work with documentation in hand, and it goes into the record. The findings of fact tonight was excellent. We had everyone except Don Fraze, who was the first one, and his application was made before we had the findings ready. Every other petitioner before you tonight submitted proposed findings of fact or proposed decision.
I believe Don had it.
I don't think, well, did he?
I think he did.
Last
Then
month.
I missed it.
Yeah, but that's fine.
But that was
I
part of
think it's,
kind of what's been happening in getting this thing ready. We'll talk about this more if you all will allow us to schedule a training session, a training meeting with you and the planning commission and the town council. Chris and I have talked about it. I have a presentation ready.
I would welcome that.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Do I have to attend twice?
no,
We're gonna have it all in the same night.
together.
You can wear 2 hats though.
I estimate between 2 and 3 hour session gets us through the stuff. There might then be some fine tuning and additional, aspects of, information, training, kind of a seminar, workshop type thing. But yeah, we've spent a lot of time, and this young lady has worked really hard to pull together pieces that we put together. So we're gonna next tackle the rework of the current zoning ordinance for the stuff that got missed or kind of, as we were finishing it, we finished it, but maybe some things that have come up over the past 6 months since then have become self-evident that we need to, consider. We have a list of it. We've recently met. We have all been analyzing those circumstances, and I would think in the next, we had a couple of little potholes, to be honest with you, at staff level, given other initiatives that the town council's working on heavily, but it's in our schedule, it's in our radar, and we will be getting back to you shortly, thinking that at the beginning of the year it's going to be kind of a fresh start, kind of a target for us.
Will you report back to Ashley on what we find in this paper you just gave us, right?
Yeah, if you have any comments,
Yeah.
any
she was-
markings,
yeah.
any concerns, something you don't like. I mean, this isn't ours, we're just trying to make it workable, and we need you to understand it and agree
Okay.
with it or not.
When this discussion, when we were involved in discussion and close to, I guess, adopting the rules, the BZA rules, I don't know, some year ago, that it was brought up about the petitioners either having the responsibility to do legal notices or continue to do this in-house. And it's my opinion that we should just continue to do that in-house, and if we have to charge a little bit more on the fees to cover those costs, because it's just a daunting task for many people, especially people that don't do it all the time.
I think part of what my predecessor was not wanting to do, and I can't completely speak to that, was she was gonna have them create the legal, which is the hard part.
Yeah.
Pretty much all they would be doing is they'd be emailing the auditor and getting an auditor's list, and Dan Holubowski is fantastic, he gets it back out in about a day. Sending them off to the newspaper in an email, and sending out the certified mail, which certified mail the petitioner was already doing.
Okay.
They would not be doing anything any creation to their advertisement, that's all done in-house and provided to them.
Okay, all right.
I do agree with Ashley about it, it's a good point, a really good point. I saw a receipt, I think it's a $50 fee. That's not enough. When she just described to you what has to happen here internally to get everything in order for that item to be a petition item on your agenda. From first time in the door to this moment right now, everything in between happening has a far greater cost than $50. And we're not looking to make, this isn't a money-making operation, this is so that the taxpayers don't subsidize folks who are seeking relief from our zoning ordinance. That's all. And if there's a cost of $100, $150, because it breaks itself down pretty closely to that, that's what we need to be considering doing. And those are items we are working on, by the way, in the permit fee schedule that is going to come out soon.
Jerry?
You know, there are no new problems, they're just new people.
Heard that before.
Your predecessor had similar but different ideas. I'm in favor of whatever is going to keep things simple for everybody in this building. This whole idea of somebody running to the post office or running to the courthouse, or that's craziness. That's just craziness. I've heard it all. I'm not sure letting a petitioner, average Joe, hanging out there not knowing what to do is a good idea. This is service to the taxpayers. So whatever's going to work, money-wise, protocol-wise, however you guys want to do it, I'm good with. Because the way it was done before was a little strange to me.
I promise you this, sending citizen applicants to the Lake County Courthouse, trying to get something done, is pure utter torture on our part to them. I have trained staff who go there daily and have to fight and struggle to see the right person, to get the right process, to get an explanation, to get something stamped.
Especially with Mr. Halabowski.
To get a receipt. It doesn't matter. It's a miracle it gets done, and that we do any business in this county. And to send, a couple couples like we're here tonight with.
Can't have it.
It just has its.
Well, Mr. Halabowski gets vacations too, so that makes things really complicated.
Dan's good. He's good.
Yes, he is. So whatever you guys want to get this laid out, I'm good with.
So we'll review it over the next month, and then, in the meantime, we can get back with you on any suggestions we have? Okay.
Our hope is that this can be approved by you as a body at the December public meeting, effective 1/1/2023.
All right.
That's our target for you.
Thanks for getting this done as I'm heading out the door, too.
Hey, you wanted to be the big politician, man, come on,
I worked as quick as I could and
Well,
worked
I'm excited for all this stuff.
Provisional president.
All right, well.
Interim?
If you will.
There we go. So
I think
that's.
there's a natural succession with the vice president.
So that's our goal, so we gotta get working on this month for you guys, so we'll do that. Any other public comment?
Yeah, you get to appoint your replacement.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You don't have anything else online there, actually? Bob doesn't wanna say anything?
Good night.
You wanna say Happy Veterans Day, Bob?
Yeah, I'm a little weak, but I'm getting better.
All right, sounds good.
Happy Marine Corps birthday, that's what you're supposed to say.
There you go. All right.
One last word.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Hoorah.
Thank you all for being calm, being collected, and being composed over the past 8 to 10 months. In the last 8 to 10 months, we've had 3 lead administrators, zoning administrators, we've had turnover, we've had change. That's been a rocky and a kind of a turbulent experience, and you guys maintained a calm that was noted. Witnessed tonight how smoothly things go. Some folks won, some folks lost, but it has a smooth and respectful process to it. And we seem to have found a niche in getting to this point. You go through rough waters to get to the calm, and here we are. Thank you for that. And I want you to know that's been noted.
All right, thank you, Dave.
All right.
All right, well, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service, all you out there. You too, John. You guys have a good night.